was always debated. It really was. I mean, for a long period of time, and it's still debatable, is it not? Whether or not baseball is successful here in South Florida. Would you say? I mean, the only people so far that I think it's been really successful for were Laurie and Sampson.
Yes.
Who cashed in billions. Everybody else has left here kicking and screaming, have they not? The son-in-law and Pops, who, have went from buying Dayglow Jesus paintings to all of a sudden he's in the bidding at South Beach for a Van Gogh.
Exactly.
It's an original there, Jeff. Okay.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on this Thursday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and a very dapper-looking Mike Lubitz. I think you got the memo there from the lovely Shirley. She said, listen, kid, if you're going to make it in this business, look the part.
There you go.
A guy told me this many, many years ago when I was selling souvenirs at Shea Stadium. I was going out there. I had like one pennant, a yearbook that was a little bit bent, a couple of blow-up dolls, maybe some bobbleheads in a little basket. And the guy said, you're not going to go out there like that, are you? And I said, yeah, sure. I want to sell the last of this stuff, and then I'll come back and get more. He said, no, that's not the way you sell. Look prosperous. And he immediately shoved like another 50 yearbooks into my hand, a couple of more, a dozen pennants, more blow-up dolls, more bobbleheads, caps, and everything. Look prosperous is the way to go. So you have taken heed of that advice, Mike Lubitz, and are looking prosperous right now. Is today we will have a version of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dave Gurgley is going to join us, and we're coming out of recovery for what was a very black Wednesday for a lot of people, and that really just consisted of no Major League Baseball, and there's no Major League Baseball again today. Which I want to say, when did this start, Libby? Where they didn't have any games on Thursday after the All-Star break. Usually, you'd have a smattering of games on Thursday, and then everybody was back in action by Friday. Maybe that was conceived to be or perceived to be unfair to the teams that got back into action on Thursday. I don't know. Would you be anxious to get back in the fray and start what would be considered the second half of the season, although we're a little bit past that? And there were many, many report cards being issued. The New York Post had a report card grade on every player, Mets and Yankees. A lot of F's, a lot of D's. Looked like my college transcript. A lot of incompletes. A lot of question marks. A lot of like, hey, when are you going to take a full load of credits, DeForest? I mean, 2 courses a semester isn't really going to get you out of here anytime before. John Blutarski was going to graduate in less time than I did. 7 years of college down the drain. A lot of grades being issued, so people were scrambling for material. Although, and our good friend Jim Sarney pointed out, there were many things going on, including... What does this tell you about the status of United States American men's soccer?
Okay.
What does it tell you when they lose to Panama? I think Roberto Duran had a goal in a game. An 80-year-old bloated Duran actually scored on the United States. Game, of course, decided by penalty kicks, another hideous circumstance. Jim was all excited about it. I just don't get it. And I think I saw some shots of Messi on the practice field yesterday with Inter Miami CF. Was he out there yesterday?
Oh, I don't know. I just know the Copa, whatever the hell, Copa America was held here. So it makes sense. They had that thing 2 days ago, like you were talking about yesterday, about him coming in the plane, and it was like freaking insanity. So I presume that
you would have thought the Beatles were showing up at LaGuardia, no? The way he was greeted at the airport there by various reporters who were barely able to get a glimpse. I mean, it's not like, wouldn't you have had like a setup of microphones and had Messi just stop there and say a couple of words to everybody? Hey, so happy to be here.
They're doing, I think, Sunday, and they want to make the unveiling is what they're calling it. And
yes,
that's where they're putting all their attention to. I presume he'll speak there. So we'll see. They made this a big thing. And sure, like I told you yesterday, I was talking to Shirley about it, and she got excited. I was like, oh my God.
Is she a soccer fan? I thought Shirley was the NASCAR fan.
No.
Oh, that was the previous wife.
Oh, that was my first wife. Shirley is not.
Well, will you admit now that it was a complete waste of time that you spent all that, I mean, like years pretending that you liked NASCAR?
It wasn't years. I went to two homesteads, and I would go again if someone would go with me. I'm just not going to go by myself. I had a really good time the 2 times I went to the homestead race. Like, it's a lot of fun, especially if you get the treatment we get where you're getting free food and free drinks.
No, that helps a lot.
and we were indoors if we wanted to be because it was
It's a bit of a schlep is the only concern.
far, and I really don't care about cars driving around a track. But the actual event is fun. Like I mean,
The spectacle is okay. I mean, the actual event I think is good. And
Well,
when
and
you're talking about the
also-
race itself,
we're able to get on the track, so we had access to like the drivers and stuff. Like when you have stuff like that, no matter what it is, it's sort of
you have
cool.
to be in the pits.
Yes. So when you're allowed to do stuff like that, I mean,
It's Chris Economaki. Here I am, a downer. I can't tell you how much oil is leaking out of this car here, but it's a massive amount. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it in time.
So
I loved Economaki. He was probably the greatest sideline reporter this side of Leslie Visser. No, greatest sideline reporter
there.
ever.
It's up there.
Which I don't know if it's fair to label Leslie as a sideline reporter because she involved in obviously much more than that. But Economaki pretty much stuck to the sidelines there. He was always. Did he write a book called Life in the Pits? Chris Economaki, the great Chris Economaki, one of the originals. They've never been able to replace him. There's a guy that was a color analyst that has never been replaced by anybody of even slightly close significance in terms of the information that he was or she was relaying to the audience there. Economaki had it down pat, didn't he? I'm here with Chip Ganassi, and I tell you what, Chipper, it's not looking so good for the team. It was great, man. Economaki.
So anyways, Shirley's not into sports at all, but she did play soccer in high school. So Messi, I guess.
Well, that's not necessarily a distinction. I mean, because I played soccer in high school also out of punishment.
For her team.
I wasn't on the team. I don't even think we had a team at JFK in Belmore. Pretty sure we did not field a high school soccer team.
I would say in the 1960s in New York, no. I would say no.
No. It was strictly recreational. It was strictly intramural. I don't even think they had intramural soccer. No, it was literally. And this is no joke. It was literally used as punishment in gym class if somebody had graffitied the bathroom or pulled some stunt on a teacher, or there was some kind of criminal activity going on that the principal wanted to get to the bottom of. The memo would go out and they would instruct. I think we had Coach Mousehart, Coach Jackson, and and Pineapple Mike Laurel were the three coaches that were around, the gym coaches, and they would all be instructed that make sure that these kids play soccer until somebody confesses, and that was it. And it didn't take long. It didn't take more than like one session. Early morning, they'd already have the answer. Two guys would be getting grilled in the principal's office. Are you kidding me? You painted swastikas in the bathroom?
Guys would be rats.
At a mostly Jewish school? Get the fuck out of here.
It's the worst thing to be a rat ever. And you guys squealed so fast.
Didn't even have our ass in the chair where they said, have a seat, Mr. DeForest. And we're already going, it was him. It was him.
Not soccer.
Anything but that. I'd rather have a workout. Let's do 1,000 burpees.
It's like water.
Anything. Oh, my God. Running back. Does Jim Sarney, did he play soccer at Jim?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if he played any of these Fakakta sports that he actually
lacrosse? Did he do any lacrosse? I don't know. Did you ever play lacrosse, Lubie?
No, but all the sports I watch, I did play. Like at some point, I played almost every sport that I actually dedicate any time to. That's actually true.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch any of the stuff. I've never played curling. Like I couldn't.
Wow, who would play curling? Where do you find a curling court?
I think they
In
have
the United States. Maine, I don't know what would be conducive to that. Although right now, I mean, there'll be no ice, period, in the United States of America within 10 years. That's my prediction. There's my environmental outlook for you. Jeff DeForest, Environmental Outlook. That's what we're going to call the podcast in about 10 years. And we will just talk about the scorched earth theory, which, it's $1.20 in Las Vegas. Have you been in Las Vegas? Oh, you haven't been there that many times, but were you ever there in like July?
We went for the wedding, and the great wedding. And then I went around October time. I've never been when it's unbearable.
Unbearable, man. I mean, 120 degrees. And it's true. The joke applies. You could fry an egg on the sidewalk, although don't leave it on the sidewalk for too long. It's going to be overdone.
Well done.
I said over easy.
Yeah, they said yesterday, I heard it was like 96, but feels like 105. I'm like, feels like.
Oh, that's here. Yeah. I'm not sure. Do you buy the feels like temperature?
It felt like it. I can't fight.
I mean, it always feels like 105 here in Florida, doesn't it? Even how could it be in springtime? It doesn't matter when it is. It always feels like it's about $105. It was searing heat yesterday, but all around the country. I mean, Arizona had like 118. Parts of obviously the California desert. Las Vegas was in there at like $1.18. It was ridiculous. Not a lot of fun being in that environment, and this is the direction that we seem to be headed in. And meanwhile, Matt Getz is worried about Hunter Biden's emails.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah,
I love that they still focus.
doesn't
on
that guy look the part? Matt Getz. He just looks the part of the evil
Yeah.
sorcerer clown that somehow is very prominent and successful in politics these days. Very scary what's going on out there. All right, there's a lot of stuff going on, in spite of the fact that we had a Black Wednesday yesterday, no baseball again today. I did a little research on the Marlins because you're thinking, wow, they're having a really good season. And we've seen a surge in attendance of late, but is it enough to really make them a viable franchise? Think about this for a second. There's only one franchise in Major League Baseball right now, one, Lubie, that the Marlins rank ahead of in average attendance for the season so far, in terms of average per game for the season.
The
Only
A's,
one team. The A's are below the Marlins,
and
they're moving.
The Rays are above the Marlins. The Rays are actually getting an attendance.
Rays are ahead of the Marlins. I didn't see exactly where they were, but well ahead of the Marlins at this point, I believe.
Good for them because they're usually good, yet get no one to go. At least here when we're good.
Blunderdome, one of the worst mistakes ever made in terms of stadiums. Municipalities getting fleeced. There's never been a greater example of it. I guess we sort of are second tier in that category, and where municipalities get fleeced to build facilities for professional teams, and then in this case, nobody showed up when we had the Homestead. Speaking of Homestead, you're down there in Homestead again, where you got married. But they built that Homestead Stadium to supposedly attract the Cleveland Indians for spring training, and they never played there. Never. So they have this baseball stadium. Does anybody play any games? Are there any games conducted? Or does that stadium still exist that they built in Homestead?
Hey, I never heard of the place.
These poor migrant farmers were contributing their tax money, whatever taxes they were paying, and picking strawberries all day in 120-degree heat. And now I have to build a stadium for the Cleveland Indians? Who the fuck wants to build a stadium for the Cleveland Indians? And then they don't even show up. They said, it's a little far. I don't know that anybody wants to take the bus down to Homestead. Exactly. Nobody wanted to schlep down there. Supposedly a beautiful stadium, too. They have had a couple of events there. I don't know if they're still doing anything. Does it still exist, or did they bulldoze that?
I've never heard of it. So that'll tell you something.
Imagine that. Yeah. That was years ago. I mean, they were thinking the growth in this area is going to be significant. And once again, a Major League Baseball team said, hey, you know what? We're going to come there. Why don't you build us a nice facility? And they built, like, supposedly a beautiful ballpark. I never set foot inside it, and I don't know if I could find it with a GPS device, and I don't know that you could either. But that's the way that goes. Now, we have this brand spanking new stadium with the retractable dome. Once you're in the ballpark, it's really a nice place to go see a ball game, is it not?
That's the one thing for ours, at least as we got fleeced. The structure is a nice structure. If you do get your ass out there, it is a nice place to watch a game, and no one, the biggest hater in the world, won't tell you otherwise. The Tropicana, whatever the fuck they call it, it's a disaster.
Thunderdome is unbelievable.
It just sucks.
Like weeds are coming up from the AstroTurf in the outfield there. You can hit a fly ball off the girders. It was crazy. Who was supposed to move there? The Giants? Somebody was supposed to move there.
I don't know.
The White Sox originally? I think the White Sox were the first team that said, hey, let's... one team was going to move to Tampa St. Pete. So they built the Blunderdome, and then nobody moved there. And it sat there empty for a while. And then they finally, I guess, capitulated and gave them an expansion team. And the Tampa Ray Devil Rays came into existence at the time. There you go. Ron DeSantis finally having an impact. The woke people said, oh, you can't call them the Devil Rays. That'll offend the religious zealots that are up here that don't believe in the devil or believe that he's inherently evil, if it is a he. And so they changed the name to the Tampa Bay Rays, but not much changed in terms of attendance. You would think that they would be among the lowest. The A's are an obvious choice there. The Marlins are averaging, I wrote this down somewhere. The Marlins are averaging 12,000 people, 12,609 fans per game.
Yeah.
And the A's are the only team lower with 10,089.
But it doesn't have everyone else. It just has this article is just focusing on the last two. Like, it doesn't talk about the
No, no, no. And I was looking at the rankings. The Dodgers are number one, and they're averaging 48,200. LA Dodgers still big, and that was an incredible thing about the Los Angeles area. Now it made some sense that the Dodgers were the most prominent team there, but it isn't like the sports market is bereft of competition. I mean, think about it. You have USC and UCLA in football. You have UCLA and, to a far lesser extent, USC in college basketball. And then you have both the Lakers and the Clippers. The Clippers, of course, with Steve Ballmer doing everything in their power in Steve Cohen type of fashion to try and be a successful team. And yet they haven't been able to achieve that. They were a doormat. They were the redheaded stepchild. The California and now Los Angeles Angels were always a secondary consideration to the Dodgers, but they still did pretty well in attendance. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't quite the rage that the Dodgers create in terms of a fan base. But I think about it. I mean, for the Dodgers to be that significant, they have the Rams there. You have the Chargers there now, Lakers, Clippers. You have the LA Kings. You have the Anaheim Ducks. So, I mean, a lot of competition in that LA market, and kind of a laissez-faire, je ne sais pas when it comes to, if you want to go into French terminology, when it comes to sports. And do they not also have all the other kind of ancillary arguments
Of
that people
course.
make about sports here and why people don't go to games? Can you do almost anything else that you would want in the Los Angeles area? Southern
Yes.
California, of course. Kite surfing, all of that shit.
You got the whole thing. Yeah, it's the fucking second biggest market in the country, and the biggest in the world.
But holy Vince Scully, I mean, 48,000 per game. Now they do spend money, and they're always prominent. They have their share of stars, but it's not the easiest place to get to, Chavez Ravine there and Dodger Stadium. You do have to kind of make a few maneuvers and go down some very narrow paths to get in there. It's not quite like Clemson, where there's that one dirt road that leads in there, and you have to get by any number of Ku Klux Klansmen who are sitting there going, "Well, we don't care for your kind here unless you're playing. Are you a player? Okay, you can go on through. That'd be great."
We're okay with you if you're a player. Otherwise,
I mean, we were asking that question in the clip there. Is baseball successful here? How successful could it be if you're averaging 12,000 fans per game? Is that going to change if they average 20,000 for the rest of the season? What would that bring that number up to? Let's assume it's about halfway. So what? You're going to average 14,000 fans per game for 81 games?
I mean, yeah, if they do it the rest, look, they do it the rest of the season. Look, my hope is it keeps growing. I mean, if they usually we don't get to the 20s at this point of the year. Brian's not. I fight Brian about the other teams because the Heat, the Dolphins have gotten really good fan support my entire life. It's just the Marlins and the Panthers. But again, the Marlins and Panthers are only been around 30 years, and they have never won consistently.
Only 30 years seems like enough time to have established yourself as a commodity for entertainment, no?
It depends. Like, if you're the Rockies and you've had pretty consistent success, if you're some of these franchises that are newer, look, the King, the Vegas Knights, who have won since day one and win every year, yes, you ingratiate yourself into the community and fans believe in you. Both these franchises won early. They got us excited. They were actually getting fans, and they sold off teams. So it's hard for a fan base to really get involved in a franchise if from day one. Look, the Dolphins won early. The Heat went decently early. They were in the playoffs, I think, by year 2 or 3 with Lottery. Like, those franchises found a way to get into the community and see, look, we can win. The Marlins and Panthers didn't, and they've done it their entire time here. So it's hard to get fans to give a shit. Especially hockey.
The Marlins, though, had 2 world championships inside their first 10 years. Now I would say this: if Lone Shark Park was located where Hard Rock Stadium is, I would imagine there would be an uptick in attendance. Would you think? Because accessibility, in spite of the fact that the park once there is great. Parking situation, unless you park on the 6th floor. I was with Big Rich in Atlantic City, and we were recounting the time that we went. He's a huge Yankee fan, as is our other friend Big Al, who is not nearly as big as Big Rich. So the big may be a bit of a misnomer with Big Al. He's big in the sense that he's like a big shot, more so than a big guy physically. And we parked on the 6th floor. We went all the way up to the 6th floor of that parking garage and parked the car for that Yankee game, which was, I mean, at that time, what they were grabbing what 37,000 for that. What's the capacity there at Lone Shark Park? I think it's only
I think
37,000. Yeah.
mid 30s, something like that.
All right,
35.
so they were sold out for those Yankee games, and they were during a week, and it took us 3 hours to get out of the garage, Libby. At the end of and this was before they sped up the games there with the pitch clock. Which why would you want to eliminate that from the postseason? That's another issue in baseball right now.
You want to slow it down in the postseason?
The players, are contending that this is prohibitive for them. That they need more time to scratch their balls in the
Well,
postseason.
that's the thing. It's not prohibitive. You guys have fucked around for the last fucking decade. Players back in the day didn't. The shit that no more
Games didn't take forever. If you look at the times of games from say the '60s.
No, they played.
Yeah.
Nomar Jeter, I think, started it at the plate, and then everyone had to have you don't need a routine. Go there, hit the fucking ball. And the pitchers futz around too. I don't know the pitchers who started it, but like Bob Gibson didn't want to give you time to get settled.
No.
Bob Gibson got in there.
They were firing.
Randy Johnson didn't give you time to get settled. Randy Johnson wanted you to be shaking your boots. This thing where they futz around and bats 5 minutes, it's like no, guys. No, I'm sorry, that's not baseball. I don't know what.
Well, stepping out after every pitch.
Come on.
And then a pitcher, 16 conferences on the mound there. Well, I think he's going to bunt. Who's going to cover third?
Fucking baseball.
How much you need to discuss once you leave spring training about strategy in a baseball game? These guys have been playing baseball. I mean, let's assume the average age of a major leaguer is what, like 28, 29 years old? You've been playing baseball since you were 6.
Yep. 100%.
How much situational discussion do you need? Well, it's good they're all getting together here to try to figure out what's going on. You don't know how to play by the time you get to the pros? Are you kidding me? That seems a little bit ridiculous, which is why blaming the hitting coach is always. Don't you already have your hitting style established by the time you get to professional baseball? Did you change a whole hell of a lot? If you were having success in a little league, did you change a heck of a lot in terms of how you approached, being at the plate there? Your swing is going to be about the same. I don't know. How much can you really improve on that?
Look, a lot of the time, all they do is make it worse.
Yeah.
Like, you got to the majors this way. Let's totally take
Hold your hands a little higher. No, you're. I mean, I don't know. What can you really do if you can't? The guy doesn't have his swing established by the time he's in Major League Baseball. I don't think he's going to be a very good hitter. That would be my theory. Sure, people, they have video now. That would make some sense. You look, you say, hey, you see what you're doing? You're dipping your right shoulder there. And then maybe you stop. I mean, you can always make corrections, but would it be to the point where the most significant position on any major league team is the hitting coach? Plus, they kept the guy's 2 assistants. So, this guy, Sean Casey's going to come in there. He's got the same guys working with him, which he warmly embraced and said, you're just like when a new head coach comes in and he's forced to keep the assistant coaches. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, I can't wait to work with these guys. These are the same guys that were 0-7. That's why the guy got fired.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. All right. Saratoga opens up today. Big Rich, speaking of Big Rich, he sent me a text yesterday that apparently it was a hoax. Obviously it was, since I'm looking very much with enthusiasm at the entries for Saratoga today, which today is opening day. And we do have to congratulate. And he'll be. I was a little disappointed when I saw this because I believed it to be true that Saratoga was canceling the first couple of days of the meet today and tomorrow because of weather considerations and concerns in the upstate New York area.
Oh, jeez.
Turned out to be a complete hoax. You know who scoped that out right away? When Mike Mayo. Hugh Mayo, with his reporter's instincts, he immediately checked some other sources and said, it's bullshit, Defo. They're running.
I was like, that feels like a Mayo.
He is. He questions everything.
Yes.
He was complaining about the crab cakes yesterday to the chef.
I was like, dude, they were great.
The guy was so proud of him. I mean, even if you hated them, would you say anything?
He literally was like, I've been studying this recipe for 25 years. I was like, Mayo. Of all the things to bitch
of all the things, yeah. You talk about, maybe the shrimp were a little small. I don't know.
Quesadilla, people never.
Food was great, though. I mean, that was phenomenal.
Everything was great, and it had its own flavor, and
As a critic, do you feel compelled to say something? What do you think? Is that the
I was
syndrome?
gonna say you mock mayo. I don't usually mind it because the restaurants usually seem to get a kick out of it. That was the first time where I was like, mayo. I feel like
Oh, he went overboard yesterday. Because I think he gets into a little bit of a Buster Douglas food coma when he does that thing with the burger that he does, which he'll be doing again today. But he's got to be excited about Saratoga. I'm thinking about sending in a bet. I'm trying to figure out a way where the opening daily double and or exacta will come out with my birthday numbers. I'm forcing those numbers. The 7557 combination. I'm not sure that it's going to happen. Frank Miramonti makes his debut as the track announcer there, though. My good friend Frank Miramonti, who still is the subject. I don't know if he, necessarily would be happy that I'm retelling this story, but one of my favorite days ever of degenerate gambling experience was with the great Frank Miramonti, who at the time was sending it in. I don't know if he's kind of collared this and gotten it a little bit more under control. I would imagine you would have to if you were going to have these kind of prominent positions, because Frank then was a neophyte first year race caller at Hialeah Park, and Hialeah was I think at the point where they were being contested against directly by Calder Racecourse was open at the same time, and the attendance was low, and I don't know that the announcer was the highest of priorities there, although they've launched the careers of many great announcers, and now Frank is among them. But he was a nervous wreck. He was gambling his brains out, and he came over to my house. This was when nobody had laptops. This was in the day of what would you call that? Disk-driven desktop computers.
Yes, which still exists. Yes.
So now that everybody had a computer, and he was in a temporary residence because I guess track announcer, if he's from out of town, gets provided a residence there by the people at Hialeah Park. That was part of the deal. So he's kind of in a temporary place. Wouldn't be inclined to have a hard drive. Hard drive is what I'm looking for. Hard drive computer. Okay. All right. So he calls me in a panic. It had to be what? This was a Saturday night. I happen to just have gotten home, and I get a panic call at about 11 o'clock, and it's Frank, and he says, I got to come over to your place and use your computer. Now, he wasn't close by. I mean, these apartments that they had were somewhere in Miami, and so he's going to schlep all the way. I lived in Fort Lauderdale, all the way up to Fort Lauderdale to use my computer, and I thought, yeah, sure, come on up.
I mean, there are libraries. Even then, libraries had computers, but I know.
Well, but this was at night, though. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, he comes into the house, and normally, he would tell a few jokes, have a conversation for a while, run straight into the room. Where's the computer? Run straight into this, spare bedroom that had the computer in it, and he's in there for like 2 hours.
No, jeez.
I'm like, it's fucking 1 a.m. I mean, I was more of a late night owl back then, but nonetheless, I was like, time for you to go. No. So then he leaves without saying a word. Nothing.
Oh, nice.
Goes right out of the house, doesn't say anything, not even nary a goodbye there, Lubie, and gets in his car and drives back to Miami. All right, so the next day, I see him, and it's towards the end of the card, and it turned out, I don't want to get into all of the rationale behind why this was such a situation of imperative. I mean, paramount importance. Would that be the right way to put it?
Yes,
he had to have this happen. Otherwise, there was going to be some, there were going to be some serious consequences if he didn't come up with what turned out to be 15 dimes in a matter of a short period of time. He had till like 5 o'clock that day to come up with this money. God. All right. So I go to the announcer's booth at the end of the last race at Hialeah. And, I was going to see if he wanted to go out for a drink or something. I had no idea what was going on. I just remembered him being at the house the night before. And it turned out he was handicapping the late double in Aqueduct for those 2 hours. And came up with a play that he put $200 on. It came back. He was on his knees screaming in front of this little television monitor they had in the announcer's booth at Hialeah, on his knees. And he's screaming, thank you, God. Thank you. As he wins a photo in the second half of the late double in Aqueduct, it comes back $154 for two. He has $200 on it. Gets back $15,400. Turned out he owed certain parties 15 dimes, so he walks away with $400. And he says to me, hey, this is great, man. I can't believe this jackpot. I never thought I was going to get out of this. Thank you for letting me use the computer. Let's go out to eat. I got $400 left from the money that that I just won. And I'm thinking, wow, I mean, you were into this guy for like 15 dimes? How bad were you swinging in terms of your bets? But he was betting on everything at that point. I mean, he was a veritable Phil Saltzman. I don't know. You didn't know Phil, but
I've heard
Phil was, notorious for, in the middle of the race, you could tell who he had money on.
and he would call the races.
He would call the racing, and they're not going to get her today. And you could tell there was a certain amount of glee because he was going to get off the hook there from the various debts that he had outstanding. So sure enough, he says, let's go out to dinner. We'll go someplace nice. I got 400 where you can blow, which back then would have got you a pretty fancy meal almost anywhere. And we go out to the parking lot to go to his car, and his car had been repossessed during the course of the car. So he's come a long way. He's going to be calling today at Saratoga. Frank Miramani, my good friend. That was 30 years ago. He was, obviously, he's gone through various, degrees of reform, I would have to think, to be calling it Santa Anita and Saratoga. I mean, they're not going to have some guy that's yelling out the window, "Get me 20 to win on the 6 at Toga. So we'll see what can happen there. But they are going to be racing, and first race post time today is 1:10 for the first at Toga. How about this? They have an allowance race with a purse of 150 grand. Not bad. So you get the best of the best. It's one, and I'm amazed, Lubie, at how many people from South Florida venture up there, including the guy who's coming up next with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And that is Dave Gurgles. Gurgley, who was it last year, Gurgles, that you were up there at Saratoga, or do you make that a somewhat annual trip up there to Toga?
The last 2 years, and I'm scheduled to be there August 11th, 12th, and 13th this year. So less than a month from now, I'll be back up there.
Very nice. And what are your thoughts about the whole thing? I mean, it's kind of utopia for horse racing fans. Everybody looks at it that way. What would you say? How would you describe the experience?
Well, it's like no other experience. It really is. It's a terrific place to be. I've got good friends I'll fly to Allentown, and my friends from Allentown will drive up, and they have friends in a place called Bern, New York, right on a lake about an hour from Toga. So we drive the hour, bet the races, come back, go out on the lake in the evening. Saratoga's it is the August place to be. It's just special. I mean, Santa Anita, I'm sure, is a great place to go, as is Del Mar, where the turf meets the surf, but there's nothing quite like Saratoga. It's unbelievable. I've got some Saratoga questions, and the 5-horse in the first race today, if you're going to play a 5-7 double, looks pretty darn good. I didn't look at the second race, but you may want to go 5-7.
The 7, is not out of the question.
Yeah, don't forget, it's a graveyard of favorites, so don't pay no attention to morning line odds, by all means.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, could the first race can't possibly be won by the favorite, can it? I mean, that would be ridiculous. The 5
is the favorite.
5 is the favorite.
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the 5 in the second race. That's who I like. Lady
Iran Ortiz,
Lady Blitz. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking, Gergs. I'm thinking the 5 in the second race, which could trigger. I mean, there's so many different ways to go here, and many ways to lose your money. Right. Look at the full. I mean, giant fields. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm a little envious that you're getting up there. I've only been there one time, believe it or not, for one day.
Oh, you got to go. Yeah.
And that was courtesy of the lovely and talented one when the Duke lent us his private plane to fly to Saratoga from Boston. And we were there for that one day and then ended up flying home. And that was one of my initial, it might have been only like the second or third time that I was with the Mustang. Imagine that. Why don't you come up and we'll fly our friend's private jet back home? It was downhill from there, Gurgles. It really was. I can assure you. I mean, there's been nothing that's approached that ever since. I've tried my best. It just hasn't worked out that way. All right. The trivia challenge is on tap. How are you feeling about that, David?
Feeling good. I did take advantage of your advice. Got one of those shots in my knee last Friday.
Did you?
Nice.
How's it working?
Yep.
Any results yet?
It's helped a little bit. I'm doing therapy. I'm swimming.
Okay.
And I'm scheduled for a maximum of 2 more shots, and then we'll see what happens after that. Because when I get to Saratoga in August, I don't want to wait. I want to be running to the windows. By all means, you got it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the 3 shots. The guy gave me whatever he gave me. He gave it to me in 1 dose, and I would say this. It took about a week. Took about a week to really kick in. I started.
It'll be a week tomorrow, and we'll see.
Yeah. But I don't know about the second and third, the administering of the second and third dose, because this was all one shot. And I was thinking about
Yep.
it yesterday on my walk of life. I was thinking this is remarkable. I was going to ask you how your knee was, and I was thinking that this is amazing because I mean, literally, I was in the same shape you are. I couldn't get out of bed without, some, initial. I don't know if it was excruciating pain, but I felt like Jim Otto.
Yep.
Yeah, the former Raiders center, who, if you ever saw that story, it's pretty tragic what
Oh
happened
yeah.
with his knees. All right, let's hope it kicks in there, Gurgles. If not, get the other doses and see what happens. Dial us up if you want to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. It's always great. Speaking of Frank Miramati, remember when he got his start there? And that was weird. It's weird to come out to the parking lot and your car's not there. Now it's not so strange for me because I'll come out of a restaurant like we did yesterday and I can't find my car even though I parked it at the valet. What? Oh yeah, valet parked. I forgot about that. But yeah, that was great, and looking forward to hearing Frank's first call of the first race today at Saratoga. That's got to be quite a distinction. That's one of those jobs you can hang on to for a long time if you don't fuck it up. You would think.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and they've been looking for.
We're rooting for him.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to do great. I mean, obviously he's held that job at Santa Anita for a while, so pretty amazing, huh? Guy was doing like score phone race replays, at 3 a.m. at one time out of some boiler room in Boynton Beach, and now he's the race caller at Santa Anita and Saratoga. Starts today. All right, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. If you'd like to join us here and play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, competing for a chance to see Lubie tonight, maybe. If you want to take advantage of it very quickly, that's easier for Lubie. He doesn't have to waste a stamp. And you go by Landlubbers, Alex Sufrine's great place. What is that now? It's Sunrise and
Pine Island and Pine Island.
Pine Island.
And I highly recommend. I was there last Thursday. A great show by Lubie and the Professor, and had the salmon teriyaki sweet rice bowl, like a salad that was unbelievable. Blackened salmon teriyaki sauce over vegetables, unbelievable. The food is terrific.
They do a great job.
It really is. I recommend going. Yeah, they really do.
See, Mayo would make a face at that and say you're ordering the salmon bowl at a sports bar.
Well, he's been there a bunch of times. It's not his first outing. Like, he tried different stuff. I mean.
Right, but I mean, you would think that this was going to be top notch. And my theory is, if you're going to have it on the menu, make it good. Right? I mean, there's no excuse like, well, I mean, you ordered the salmon. What do you expect? I expect you to be able to cook it as well as anybody else, right? Maybe even better. So that's good. All right. So head on out there. What time does that get going tonight?
6:30. We get there around 6, and 6:30 gets underway. So we'd love to have you join us for some more trivia fun.
I'm surprised you didn't get an ESPY for the best live trivia competition. That would have been great if you could have gotten up there yesterday. I still, I guess, did it take a lot of courage? Should the Courage Award that year, was that a setup when Bruce Jenner got it?
Oh, Caitlyn.
Caitlyn Jenner, yeah.
Well, especially since Caitlyn's gone the opposite way.
They had, players that were wounded in Vietnam. I mean, they had all kinds of people that could have got this hero award, but they gave it to Jenner, I guess. But if you think about it, I guess it took a lot of balls, huh? That's a horrible joke.
Not really.
To come out that way, yeah.
Took away a lot of balls. Yeah.
That's Renee Richards, right? Tennis without balls.
Right.
All right. On that note, we'll get into the game. That was accidental. That was purely accidental, people. Every now and then, when you have a big mouth, you walk into one. And there was a left hook there, and looks like the forest is going down. All right, we're coming back with Dave Gurgles Gurgley, 954-417-0070. Hialeah Park, always a great place. I've been down there for a little while, though. I want to get back there. It's very exciting. Have you been out taking advantage of the beautiful simulcasting setup they have, Gurgs? Because you live nearby.
Oh, yeah. Been in touch with our friend Frank Fiore as well, and it's still the place to go that rivals Saratoga in its history, and the surroundings are up to date. Big 60-inch screens, great casino, which we'll tell you more about in a little bit.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that. And the game, it's 7:41. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Getting set for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We have Mike Lubie Lubitz at the controls. You can give him a call at 954-417-0070. Dave Gurgles Gurgley, the master of ceremonies here, has the questions. Although there were some rumors, Gurgles, that Seacrest was interested in the job. Like he doesn't have enough work, this cat. But, how did they, what kind of oversight is that? They didn't consider you instead of Seacrest for the Wheel of Fortune job.
I would have been, I'm more Price is Right. Wheel of Fortune, he can have that one. But they'll miss Sajak. I think Vanna White's a little upset. She hasn't had a raise in, 12 years or something like that.
Yeah, but she was making $3 million for the last 30 years, and imagine what that was like, 30 years ago. For doing what?
And Pat was making what, 12 or 15, something like that?
I think he left like a $20 million salary on the table there, and didn't seem like there was a lot of pressure to force him out. Had you heard anything to the effect that, hey, listen, Sajak's got to go? No.
It was safe.
No.
Was a weatherman in L.A. I remember him doing the weather when I was living out in L.A. Yes. Made a pretty good move there with Merv Griffin. All right. And I know, if you, even in a previous life, would have been hard to be a quiz show host in a previous life because, we came in before the invention of TV.
Yes.
Actually, we came in before electricity, Gurgles said, so we better get to this game here. How's the new job going, by the way, with the,
the Luca operation's great. I have a Zoom meeting today at 11 o'clock. So with the University of Miami Law School about a tournament, and I'm working 4 days a week. I have my Fridays free, so I might be able out there tomorrow. I think Saratoga weather will be good today. Tonight, I think everything's moving in out there. So I'm a little concerned about being on the turf for the weekend. But yeah, everything's fine. Come on out. Yesterday, we had Jorge Posada out here playing.
Oh, nice.
2 days. Yeah, 2 days ago, Davey Concepcion was out here playing at Miami Lakes. So the course is in great shape. We're getting ready soon for the destruction of where I'm at and the construction of a brand new clubhouse, restaurant, banquet facility, everything. So I'll be moving into a double wide trailer. Hopefully we can still continue this apparition as we've got going. But everything's moving great out here. So come on out and play. Come by and say hello and enjoy a great golf course here at Miami Lakes.
I'm laughing because the way this operation is going, I'll be moving into a double wide trailer pretty soon. And maybe downsizing will include getting rid of one of the, one of the, halves of the trailer. So I'll be in a single wide. No. All right. Let's make some money here today. And let's crown a champion. Obviously, this is one of the great considerations. I would think that Lenny the Chronic would have gotten consideration for an SB yesterday as one of the all-time great sports trivia mavens. And it's always a great competition. 954-417-0070. David, if you're ready, let's begin the game. And who would be better and what would be more befitting the sort of, the golden years of his lifetime than if the Polyman was a permanent resident of Saratoga for the entire 2 months of the meet. That would be great. Getting back to selling the handicap and sheet out front there, the blind jockey or whatever he was, masked jockey. All right, so let's do it in the traditional fashion. Dave Gurgles Gurgley, as if we had the Polyman back with us on the show and some.
Easy baseball. This is an interesting one. We haven't gone this vein lately. This coach of the Oklahoma State Penitentiary baseball team, when asked about his team, said, well, we lost some mighty good boys from last year because of parole. But crime being what it is, we picked up some good ones since then, too. What's that? Joe Kirkpatrick, Patrick Ewing, J.R. Ewing, or J.R. Reddick?
Roll it, Lubie, the random phone scrambler. Look at that. Ron, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
Correct way to start us out here on the show.
Attaboy, Ron. All right, Ron, speaking of Saratoga, horses, true or false? Last week at Belmont, the Victory Ride Stakes was won by a horse named Maple Leaf Mel, which coincidentally was owned in part by former Toronto Maple Leaf great Davy Keon, part of the 67 Stanley Cup team. Or false?
Let's go true.
I'm going to say false.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it was owned by Bill Parcells.
Oh, wow.
Is that right? I was thinking it was some
He's a big
fan,
horse guy.
that they were paying tribute to. That was a Maple Leaf fan named Mel Schwartz or whatever his name was in Brooklyn, who somehow ended up rooting for the Toronto Maple Leafs because they were good at one time many years ago when he was a kid. All right, one for two and a chance at 4 points here, Ron.
It's 3.
All right, let's go to one of your favorites, tennis.
Well, 4 altogether.
Perhaps one of his worst losses in 2018. Roger Federer lost in the quarterfinals at Wimbledon to
Ooh.
Juan Martin del Porto, Marin Cilic, Martin Pedrosa, or Kevin Anderson.
Let's go Marin Cilic.
Chilich is
No.
the pronunciation
I was
there.
gonna
Yeah.
say
Cilic.
Yep. It was Kevin Anderson upset
Kevin
in
Anderson.
that quarterfinal
Okay.
that year. Yeah.
I think that was Anderson's only career win.
I was going to say, I've never heard that name.
Yeah, he was a tall drink of water, as I recall. I've been using that phrase a lot, tall drink of water. But he was kind of a tall guy. I want to say, obviously, you would think he had a big serve. But I don't remember him being around for very long. I'm not sure exactly what sordid fate he met. But his career, certainly, it was like, just a quick flash where he had that run, and that was it. All right, going for 6 points, and the obviously setting the pace here in the lead.
Football, Ron. The 48 touchdown pass year thrown by Dan Marino in 1984 eclipsed a long-standing pro record of 36 touchdown passes held by two quarterbacks, Y.A. Tittle and
Ooh. Wow, Y.A. Tittle.
Yep.
All right.
John Hadel, Dan Fouts, Sonny Jurgensen, or George Blanda.
Let's go John Hadel.
I'm going to go
Believe it or
Sonny
not,
one,
you have to
so
go back.
true.
Blanda.
Nope, you have to
Blanda?
go back to the 61 Oilers, George Blanda, out of Kentucky.
Blanda.
Wow,
You're throwing
you got
Blanda
it?
in the question.
Very nice.
All
Yeah, I
right.
figured we would
draw,
go all the way
tough
back
draw.
to Blanda.
Friggin'
All
Blanda.
right, tough draw run. Ends up with a total that, at least for now, is not worthy of being in the finals. We'll see. We might have to circle back to him if the rest of the contestants pull up lame as well. 954-417-0070. By the way, and I thought this was long overdue, Mark Clayton getting nominated for the possibility of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Talking about
Wow.
the NFL Hall of Fame, not just. I mean, it took them a while to put. And remember, they did that kind of slimy thing of putting Clayton and Duper up on the Ring of Honor together because they just couldn't bring themselves to put either of them up there individually, which Mark Clayton was a great player and statistically eclipses many of the people that are in the Hall of Fame. And on top of that, I mean, you talk about a clutch performer. This guy was always coming through with big catches in traffic. Absolutely fantastic from Danny Boy. Hall of Fame, does he get in? That's the question. Or do they torture this man like Jerry Kramer for 15 years? Lubie, yeah, I mean, did you ever see Jerry Kramer? Was he ever out there at Shula's? Jerry Kramer, the great Green Bay Packer?
No, I think I might have seen him at one of the Super Bowl parties here with Miami. What a terrific lineman he was. Yeah, by all means.
Oh,
Yeah.
they tortured
And Clayton,
the guy,
I think was what, 8th round pick out of Louisville, I believe. So yeah.
Was he
I
that
think
low?
the lack
Yeah,
of a
might have
Super
been.
Bowl victory might hurt him. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he was 8th round pick. Yeah.
Could be. I want to go a couple of rounds higher than that, but I don't know. You might be right. Always, I mean, just always tremendous. And then on top of that, I mean, with Duper, that was, as we say, if you're not going to win championships, be entertaining. And they were certainly all of that. All right, 954-417-0070. And speaking of, fabled players, I think we have a couple of them trying to get in here. So let's get our next set of questions from Dave Gurgles Gurgley.
Football. This legendary Tampa Bay Bucks coach, after his team snapped a 28-game losing streak, summed up his team's chances thusly: 3 or 4 plane crashes, and we're in the hunt for the playoffs. Was that the great John McKay, Jim McKay, Amos McCoy, or Amos Otis?
Quote machine at John McKay. He was great. First encountered him at USC when he was coaching there. The Scrambler lands on Lenny the Chronic. Lenny's a Saratoga guy.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
I'm going to 26th
Yeah,
to help the Travers.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be there? Fantastic. How come
think
everybody's
so.
going but me? I mean,
to.
what is that? I have to get with it. All right, Lenny, you have 1 point. You're in the game.
Lenny, how'd you do in the 70s song trivia? Defo would have been good at that.
My
we were
baby
first place going
takes the
into
morning
final.
train. What now?
You missed it. It was how many musicians? Actually, on Jackson 5, how many of the guys played instruments?
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm going to
And what were
say 1.
I'd say two.
I feel like it was 3.
It was 2. We said 3. I thought there was a drummer. No drummer.
No,
No.
Jackson 5 weren't
Beat
drumming.
it.
They were all out front doing a dance. They were great.
Beat it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Did they play the instruments or
yeah,
just carry them? What do you think?
Right.
All right, very good. You have 1 point, Lenny.
All right, baseball. True or false, Lenny? When Yandy Diaz of the Rays and Elias Diaz of the Rockies hit home run on Tuesday's All-Star game, it became only the second time players with the same last name hit home runs in the same All-Star game since Brooks and Frank Robinson did it in 1969. True or false?
I'll say false.
Sounds true.
It is false.
It is.
No, it's false. That was the first time it ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
He
gonna
sniffed-
say.
Oh,
He
that
sniffed
was a
that
good
one out.
example. Brooks and Frank. I mean, you're coming up big here, Gergs. All right, very good. Lenny the Chronic, usually completely zamboozled by the true-false question, ends up getting it correct. So 2 points, Lenny, going for 5.
You can come tonight?
I'm not sure. We'll see. It worked last week. I jinxed you guys last week, but
Well, you're off tomorrow,
we'll
Gurgles,
see.
so you can hang out
Yeah,
late.
yeah. I got a meeting 9:00 in the morning about Medicare, so it's a real important meeting. But that's okay. All right, Lenny. 3-point question.
We already-
Horse racing. You're going to Saratoga. Saratoga Racetrack took
Yeah.
on the aptly named Graveyard of Champions after which famous horse was beaten in an upset?
Okay.
Was that Man of War, Whirlaway, Offshore Judge, or Gallant Fox?
Go with Man of War.
No, that's where they came up with the upset stakes because the winner was upset.
Yeah.
But the one that beat Gallant Fox, the Triple Crown winner, was beaten by 100-1 Jim Dandy. And after that, it became known as the Graveyard of Champions.
Wow, very good. Offshore Judge, you care to revisit that story?
Yeah, that's Paulie Man got me into that horse as a 10% owner. It cost me, I think, $1,500.
That's all. All right.
The horse won at 3-1. I went in the winner's circle. Dan Hertak said, "What the hell are you doing in there?" So I own part of the horse. The next time
I
he
remember
ran,
that. There
I
were
was
like
working
32 guys. Yeah, in the winner's circle there. They all had
the
10%.
next time he ran, I was working lunch at Shula's Steak 2. Didn't know he was running. Richie Migliori rode him at Gulfstream. He won by 8.5 lengths and paid $33, and I didn't even know he was in. But that's
we all had him that
story
day.
for
I
another
remember
time.
you were late to the party.
Yeah.
On that one, Gergos.
Yeah, right. Okay.
All right, 5-point question. Is Lenny... Oh, he's looking for 7 points, right?
Yes, 2.
You got the true false.
Okay.
All right, Lenny, baseball. We'll give you an all-star question. Will Smith became only the third catcher to steal a base in an all-star game, joining Tony Pena and Pudge Rodriguez, Benito Santiago, Paul Casanova, or Del Crandall.
Wow.
Let's go with Del Crandall.
I got to go Benito.
Wow, that's way back. Milwaukee Braves. Believe it or not, that's why I put the name Pudge in there. It was Ivan Pudge Rodriguez with the only other one to steal a base.
Wow, I never
Pudge Rodriguez.
He
Del Crandall had to be slow as shit. No, I mean,
he was. I was going to use Clay Dalrymple, or Choo Choo Coleman, but I don't think he made the All-Star game.
Chooch would have been hard pressed to make the All-Star game with his 176 lifetime batting average. Trivia question about Choo Choo Coleman. Do you know what he ended up doing? True or false? He ended up becoming a chef in a Chinese restaurant after his baseball career. It is true. Yes. His wife, he married somebody that opened up a Chinese restaurant. He was working in the kitchen, and so Choo Choo Coleman, the answer yes, thus becomes true, was actually a chef at a Chinese restaurant in his post-baseball career.
God bless him.
The best low ball catcher in baseball. I always loved that as a kid. Trouble was he couldn't catch anything that was pitched above the waist. So that would all go back to the screen. Imagine he was a starting catcher, right? It's like that Stallings guy that we have where he hits like $1.80. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Tell us about Perdomo Cigars, though, Dave Girls.
Yeah. You want to catch something really good. Doesn't have to be a baseball. Catch a good Perdomo cigar or a box of Perdomo cigars. There I am in the Maldives with a Perdomo cigar. You don't have to go there. You can go right to 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto on the south side, just a little east of Home Depot. Go in there, say hello to Nick Jr., congratulate him on the birth of his daughter, Lucia. Say hello to Nubia, the brand new receptionist. Go into that big humidor there and make your selection, whether it's a Connecticut wrapper, lot 23 like I like, or the 20th anniversary, the Maduro wrapper. They make them perfect one at a time. 305-627-6700. If you go Monday through Friday, they're 9 and 9 to 6. They're open. Saturday, Sunday, you want a Perdomo cigar? I don't blame you. Go to any tobacconist worth their salt, and they'll have it. And if you're not sure, go online, www.perdomocigar.com. Now that Saratoga is open, I'll have a Perdomo cigar horse for you. In the third race today, this horse is 12-1 morning line. Junior Alvarado, 5 furlongs on the turf. He's going to have to close on this one. A horse. He's the 5 horse, of course.
There you go.
Appropriately enough. Mostly Harmless is the name of that horse. 12-1, race 3 at Saratoga. When it crosses the line, hopefully first, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
Alvarado would have to win 2 of the first 3 races for this to work out. The 7-5 second and third race combined daily double. Right, because you like the 5 with Alvarado, and he's riding the 7 ball, who is an 8-1 shot in the second race, which is a 2-year-old. So that could be a wide open affair, no doubt about it.
Wide open, yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, Perdomo Cigars. I mean, Dave Gergels been talking about them for over 25 years here on the show.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're just as prominent today as you would imagine they would be, because I mean that took off like a flash. I remember when Nick Perdomo first got it going, and it was literally like rolling cigars out of the trunk of his car. Next thing you know, he was like number 5 in the world.
Street. He quit his job as an air traffic controller to run that family business, and they made it into a multi big business internationally. They got Cuban seed tobacco grown on their farm in Nicaragua. They're all over the country, sales reps everywhere. We sell them here on the golf course as well. So today, tomorrow, anytime you want, go get a Perdomo cigar. Tell them we sent you.
What do you think, guys? Was that a solid hour of entertainment so far? And we still have an hour to go.
Don't ask.
little off our game after Black Wednesday. And no, that was great. And we'll come back with more. We'll continue the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. You can dial us up, 954 417 0070 if you'd like to play the game. We have, nobody with a total worthy of being in the finals so
New
far.
people, we'd love to have you. People watch us and they don't play. It's not that scary. I know.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Have some fun. I'll give you easier questions. I save the tough ones for Lenny and Ron.
It's not as difficult as if you're a little gun shy about getting in there against these heavyweights. I mean, it's not like trying to explain to Vito that you don't have the juice.
Exactly.
What a monster that guy was. Speaking of Miramani's story, it's 8:02.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
You can't fake caring. Women can sense this immediately. You don't really care. You didn't really want to do any of this.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Cruising along here on a Thursday on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, we got Mike Lubie Lubitz, and the man at the bottom of your screen there who's conducting the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge is one Dave Gurgles Gurgley. And it's always a pleasure having Dave on the program. Very excited about a lot of things, including the opening up of Saratoga, which, where will you be getting involved? Do you have something to do this afternoon, Gurgs?
Well, no, I'm not sure. I've got a Zoom meeting at 11 with University of Miami Law. Usually I get out of here 12 noon, something like that. It might make time to go out and watch a few at Hialeah, right around the corner from me. I can be there in less than 10 minutes. So I might have to watch a little Saratoga today. We will see.
And you get that.
And I'm going to forward something to Lubie.
Yeah.
Lubie, I'm going to forward something to you and share it with Jeff. A friend of mine wrote a phony AP article on my retirement, and he mentions Jeff in there as well. So I'm going to forward it to you. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Nice.
I would imagine rather unflattering terms.
No, let's just say very realistic. Let's put it that way.
I'm sorry about that lobster dinner
Yeah.
at Shula's Steakhouse. That was years ago.
Don't worry about that.
All right. We were a little gluttonous there. I mean, we went Mike Mayo on that thing and ordered everything. And next thing you know, the trade was all used up. I'm very sorry about that. I still regret it to this day. I mean, no, I really don't, if you want to be honest about it. Let's get back into the game here. 954, Lubie knows what it's like to snore. 954-417-0070. Oh, you wanted some of that? 954-417-0070 on the phone lines. Let's get right back into it. See if we can get some wisdom here on the program and get a couple of high scores. And we have our next set of questions coming up with Dave Gurgles Gurgley.
And this is dedicated to the lovely and talented one, Leslie Visser.
Very nice.
NBA Hoops. This Boston Globe writer, after the Celtics suffered several disappointing seasons in a row, exclaimed, for over 20 years, the Boston Celtics have stood for something. The only thing they stand for now is the national anthem. What's that? The great writer Bob Ryan, Nolan Ryan, Ryan Reynolds, or Allie Reynolds?
Roll that scrambler there. Well, this is always encouraging and heartening for me to not only know that this man is alive, but to actually hear his voice. Andy, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. How are you, Andy? That's the question of the day. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. Never been better. You want
Oh,
the
good.
system, and you got me. It's like the girls on the dating profile. And they're 5'6" and gorgeous, and you see them, they weigh 330.
That
Weighing in
5'6"
just a
was weight,
shade
not
under
height.
Gorilla Monsoon's weight for the championship at San Martino. Yeah. All right, very good. You have 1 point, Andy, and you know that in and of itself is enough to be a distinction for the rest of your life. Very good.
All right, Andy, tennis, true or false? Roger Federer's longtime sponsor, Rolex, had him wearing a Rolex to Wimbledon when he was featured the other day, valued at $27,000. Big deal, except his wife, Mirka, wore one worth an estimated $500,000. True or false?
Oh, Jesus.
I know it's true.
True? Yeah.
It's true.
$500,000 watch?
He's a billionaire. Yep. Emeralds, everything, the whole deal. Yep.
Wow.
She's a billionaire. I don't know where her money came, but.
Oh, Mirka? I mean, it came from Raj, you would think, but
they've been together since like high school. Like they've been together their whole lives.
Yeah.
Kate Middleton, actually, the princess, was sitting in the box with them, and her watch looked like it was purchased at a pawn shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
At like Manny's, pawn and loan and pawn, somewhere in Hialeah, and so yeah, that had to be some substantial piece of jewelry. All right, very good. Did he get that right? Yeah, he did. 2 for 2, and he's going for 5.
Yep. All right, hoops, Andy. Most folks know that Michael Jordan was the 3rd overall draft pick in the '84 draft after Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie.
Yes.
Who was drafted 4th that year, right after Michael Jordan?
Good question. I could.
Was it?
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, Sam Perkins, Mel Turpin, or Alvin Robertson?
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
I know it's Turpin.
Who? I'm going to say Mel.
He said Turpin as well. It was Sam Perkins of Dallas.
Perkins, really?
Okay.
Sam Perkins.
Makes some sense. All right.
Yep, he was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. Yep.
What a shitty draft outside of those.
Imagine that.
Yeah, but it's okay. I got the wood. Because I got 2 and Lenny got wood. So all I got to do is dance around for the next minute and finish the roundup.
You still have a shot
Well,
at
let's give
fame
you a
here.
hockey question. See if you can get this hockey question. In 1972, Derek Sanderson inked a $2.6 million contract with the WHL's Philadelphia Blazers. Upon arriving in Philly, while riding in the cab, he wasn't sure if the cashier's check that he deposited was good, so he asked the taxi driver to pull into a local car dealer and make sure the cashier's check was good, and he bought a brand new what kind of car?
Wow.
Was it a Corvette, Mustang convertible, Rolls-Royce, or Bentley?
Jesus.
Man, I love Derek Sanderson. He was one of my favorites. Was it a Yugo? Was it one of the trucks?
No, it was not. No. And it wasn't an AMC Pacer or a Barracuda either. Corvette, Mustang convertible, Rolls-Royce, or Bentley.
You remember the Gremlin? Does anybody have a Gremlin back in the day? That was some ugly car.
That was a good
car. I'll go with a vet.
That's what I'm thinking, the Corvette.
Corvette.
No, believe it or not, he bought a Rolls-Royce.
I was gonna say
He ended up playing only 6 games with the Blazers, got $1 million, ended up homeless in Central Park till Bobby Orr bailed him out.
Oh, wow.
He had the best hair in hockey for a while. Sanderson was great,
He
man,
did.
with that full head of hair that he had going, like hippy-dippy era. He was a symbol for us peace lovers. All right, thanks so much, Andy. You're still alive here because nobody has a total worthy of being in the finals. So, I didn't mean to, imply that, you weren't alive because it's always great to hear from you, as we said. I mean, with the various, he does have the timeshare there. It's not at Memorial West. The Polyman was looking at investing in the timeshare at Memorial West at one point, but whatever that hospital is by Palm Beach where he goes, actually, they ask him now if he wants to rent it out for August or if he's planning on using it himself. All right, we'll continue. 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the game, we'll play one more, and then we'll go to the championship round here of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Don't forget about Hialeah Park. Well, what a great place, huh? You walk in there, you feel like you're walking into Saratoga. It's as close as you could possibly come to getting that kind of vibe here in South Florida. So, I mean, you can go to usual simulcasting place. There are a lot of places around town. People tend to go and gravitate towards the one that's closest to them. I know I do that, but You know what?
Sure.
If you wanted to get that special feeling, it's worth the schlep. And there are very few things in life that are actually worth the schlep. This would be one of them, and that's the simulcasting.
Oh, no doubt
champion
about it.
simulcasting at Hialeah Park. I like the way they treat you too. I mean, you're not getting whacked for like $11 for a beer or any of this other stuff. I mean, you get the tab for like 3 people, and you're thinking, no, I'm buying their drinks too, and they say, no, that's it. It's like $12. It's unbelievable. The way they treat people, and the food is great all over the place. And plus, let's face it, if you're not doing so swell at the track, you can hope the Mustangs in and get the slot machines and grab a couple of more sticks.
Over the casino. Yep, you got it.
Casino's great. Yeah, poker room is also really dynamite as well. All right, here we go. Our last set of questions here during the regulation play, and it's Dave Gurgles Gurgley performing the services once again.
Golf. This color commentator describing the eccentric swing of Jim Furyk said, "Wow, Jim Furyk's swing looks like a one-armed man trying to wrestle a snake in a phone booth." What was that? David Faraday, Tim Dougherty, Professor Moriarty, or Professor Erwin Corey?
I told you my Furyk story, right? Where I was emceeing this little event there before the Honda Classic one year, and I said something to the crowd. They told me, hey, be glib, right? Have fun with these guys. And I said, well, that's an unusual swing. And Furyk nearly threw a 9-iron at my head. What do you mean it's unusual? Well, you're inside, you're outside. I mean,
he has to know his swing's weird.
He doesn't know it's weird, man. And also, I didn't know he was bald. I mean, until he took off his cap the one time, and then he looked a little strange. All right, and we've landed on Pat with the Random Phone Scrambler. Pat, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning.
Hey. Hey. Hey, guys.
Well done, Pat.
How you doing, Pat?
Good morning, my friend.
All right. Baseball. True or false, Pat? In Monday's home run derby, catcher Adley Rutschall became only the second player ever to hit home runs from both sides of the plate in the home run derby. Ironically, former Oriole Eddie Murray was the first to do so. True or false?
I'll say that's true.
I'm going to say that's true.
No? No, he was the first to do it. Eddie Murray didn't do that.
You've come up with some really good true-false stuff today, Gurgles. I mean, absolutely sensational. All right, 1 going for 4 here, Pat.
All right, Pat. Tennis. The first ever Wimbledon tournament, held in 1877, was used as a fundraiser for which of the following? A, clothing for women's tennis players, first time admitted. B, to build 2 additional courts. C, to buy a horse-drawn roller for the croquet courts. Or D, to field an additional croquet team to represent England.
What the fuck?
Wow, croquet.
I'll say it was C.
C.
That's
the horse?
Right.
No, get out of here.
To buy a horse-drawn roller for croquet. Croquet was the big sport then, not tennis. Well done, Pat.
And that was the early advent of harness racing, well, in England. All right, Pat scores. So he has 6 points. He's automatically in the finals, and we're going to go ahead and roll the scrambler to choose an opponent for Pat.
Was that the 5-pointer or the 3-pointer?
Oh, that was only 3?
A 3-pointer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have a further chance. I was thinking he already had won the game. Yeah, he wins no matter what. Give him the 5-point question.
He's locked in, but this is his 5-pointer.
Yeah.
All right, here's the 5-point question, Pat. The first year the All-Star game named an MVP was 1962. Who was it? Willie Mays, Maury Wills, Orlando Cepeda, or the aforementioned Del Crandall?
Del Crandall. Wow. Twice in one show?
I'll have to guess Crandall. Del Crandall.
No.
Wrong twice.
It was Maury Wills, the switch hitting shortstop for the Dodgers. Maury Wills.
Sorry you asked that question. You know what's odd about your Del Crandall references, multiple Del Crandall references in the same show, Gurgles, is that my first catcher's mitt, when I wanted to be like a young Yogi Berra, I got a catcher's mitt as one of my first gloves. I had a Willie Mays mitt when I was like a position player. I got a catcher's mitt, and guess what model it was? Del Crandall.
Wow, Del Crandall.
So I had a little bit of an interest in Del Crandall, and he was all right, right? What Milwaukee Braves back then?
Exactly. Yeah. For the Braves. Yep.
Del Crandall. It was a black mitt, and it was pretty good. I used it for.
And I was left-handed. My first fielder's glove was a Billy Pierce glove.
Wow.
So yeah,
nice.
yeah.
All right, Louie's got all kinds of sound effects going off here. You rolled a scrambler to pick an opponent?
Yes, Andy and Lenny tied at 2. Shocking. It's Andy. Andy will take on.
Okay, Andy's going to oppose Pat. While we set this up, tell us some more about Perdomo Cigars here, Dave Gurgles Gurgling.
Yeah, folks. When you win today, you're going to get a great gift certificate to Landlubbers. But you don't need a gift certificate to go to Perdomo's. You can go there and buy one for a friend, or you can buy yourself a great cigar, a humidor, light, or whatever you want. Where do you go? Right near Miami Lakes, the Miami Lakes area, 5150 Northwest 167th Street. You're unsure? Give them a call in advance, 305-627-6700. They're opening up at 9 o'clock today, open till 6 every day during the week. Saturday, Sunday, go online, Perdomo Cigars, to find a retailer near you that sells them. So for the person in your life who smokes cigars, or for your own enjoyment, make it a Perdomo cigar, because they make them perfect one at a time.
All right, good stuff. All right, we're ready? The finals? All set. We have Pat and Andy, a couple of fabled players. We appreciate Andy trying to encourage Scott to play, and some of the people on the chat line just next week dive on in, and we welcome some new blood into the game here. Although it's okay, it's like ESPN Classics, isn't it? Where you get the real champions there, and unfortunately, that went up in smoke when people got tired of seeing Jerry Quarry get the shit beat out of him every night. Every night, this guy is taking a fucking beating. It was unbelievable, Gurgles. All right. Dave's going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you'd like to answer right away. If nobody answers right away, we offer multiple choice. The first person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth till we have a winner for the championship of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Here is the great Dave Gurgles Gurgling.
Good luck, guys. In honor of the opening day of Saratoga, listen closely to this one. In which James Bond novel does Bond travel to Saratoga Racecourse?
Wow. Outstanding. Nobody? Here's multiple choice.
I'll go with Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
No, but that was one of the choices.
Of course.
3 remaining for Pat. You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, or Thunderball?
Let's go with Diamonds Are Forever.
That's what I would think. Money. Yes.
That's it. He goes there because they're trying to fix a race, and he's trying to break up the mob. It only appears in the book. It did not make the final cut in the movie, though. Diamonds Are Forever. Very good. I think
very nice.
Sung by maybe Shirley Bassey, I think. I think she sang that one. Shirley Bassey.
I wouldn't know, man. Can I have multiple choice on that?
No.
Freddie Blassie, I mean, might have been... a more likely guess for me on that one. All right, Gurgles, you have a good one, man. We'll see you hopefully out there at the racetrack tomorrow. That'll be great.
Hope so.
Yeah, and that's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge for this week with Dave Gurgles Gurgly. Don't forget about Hialeah Park. Great place to go. Great entertainment destination. Unbelievable what these guys have done over the years. And I keep going back to that thing where we're at that press conference with John Brunetti Sr., who I had great admiration for. It was just a terrific, iconic sports figure here in South Florida. Battled all the time with these people over racing dates and things like that. And if you look back on it, wow. I mean, was there anything like an afternoon at Hialeah Park? It was just absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, kind of dead in the water there for a while. You're thinking, when are they going to mow this down and turn it into condominiums or some kind of real estate development? Property was obviously of great value there, right in the center of Hialeah. Great location. And beautiful. I mean, but you wouldn't want to, mess with it, right? I mean, it's just so inherently beautiful when you walk in there. I was coming from Santa Anita the first time. That was a racetrack that I frequented the most. I'd been at Belmont Park many, many times when I grew up in New York, and then moved out to California. And Anita was beautiful, and there'd be 100,000 people out there, and it was fantastic. And you're looking at the mountains in the background on the rare days when you could see them. And then you're thinking, well, what could compete with that? And Hialeah just blew me away, Lubie. It really did. And I remember thinking, you tend to think negatively. You don't always. The greats have a vision that other people don't. Is that something that you would say is consistently true in life? That the real visionaries, I mean, they see things, that you can't even conceive of. And John Brunetti Sr. said, hey, I see a comeback here as a casino destination, and boom, it happened. And they've been going great ever since. So very happy to be talking about the virtues of Hialeah Park. And I just love the vibe in there. Compared to I was in various casinos in Atlantic City this past week, Libby. And even though, Mustang was winning and there was kind of an upbeat vibe, doesn't compare to what you get when you walk into Hialeah Park. And you want that feeling that everybody's, feeling good. it tends to get like if you're at the craps table or whatever. I mean, when the table's hot, everybody's celebrating and yelling and screaming.
Yep.
It tends to perpetuate that positive momentum and give you a shot to win, which is what's happening right now. They're paying out a lot of jackpots in the casino at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're going to come back and take you up until 9 o'clock today. All kinds of stuff. I had a blackout here yesterday, power outage during, and I was sort of going to tune in and give the ESPYs a shot, Lubie. I know it's common to trash the ESPYs as being just an absolutely self-indulgent, self-aggrandizing, like a lot of award shows tend to be, although is there an entertainment quotient in the ESPYs?
Back in the day, I used to love the ESPYs.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in well over a decade. The ESPN got so sort of incestuous. It got boring. I don't know. It
was a little too much,
weird. I don't
wasn't
know.
it? I mean, a little too grandiose, whatever. I mean, you were looking for more action involved in that.
I think to me, they used to be a lot more loose, a lot more like not take themselves so seriously. And I tuned in a few years ago, and it was very stick up your ass. It's like
it could potentially be the greatest highlight show ever put together, which
fun.
ESPN is very good at putting together highlight shows. You don't have to give them that.
Yeah.
You may not like everything that they do, but I mean, Sports Center still is the quickest and easiest way if you were, especially in the business that we are, to capsulize what the hell went over. Came over the wires in sports yesterday. And you get to visualize it. But sometimes when they put these clips together of the various nominees for an award, you're saying, "Wow, that's spectacular," and then they slow the pace down and get into all of this stuff. With I don't know, is it political at this point?
Look, I don't bitch about the political. I know some people do. I don't care about that.
No.
I just they treat everyone on this weird level, and I like the award shows that when people make fun of themselves and they don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Like ESPN has gone the opposite way, and they've gotten very high and mighty, and I'm not about that. I think that's boring, and I've just lost total interest in the ESPYs. I totally forgot that they're even on, and there's nothing going on right now too. That's the funny thing. So it's actually a good time to have it on.
Perfect night for it. Yes.
But I don't know, when Peyton Manning used to host and he was fun and he would fuck around, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've gotten
very sanctimonious.
Self-indulgent and sanctimonious, and look, the Caitlyn Jenner thing was it. A chick had cancer that year and played for women's college basketball, and
saved 3 people from drowning on their way to the ballpark that night.
They were just trying to capitalize on an audience. And I'm all about transgenders and equality and all that, but get someone who's lived their life that way. Caitlyn Jenner had the softest landing of any transgender in the history of the fucking world. Everyone ran to her side to make her feel welcome. And then the first thing she does is do a 180, and everything she does is against transgenders and full right-wing tilt. That's the worst person you could have picked.
Is she endorsing Ron DeSantis?
Yeah, she's a Trumper.
Yeah? No, get out of here. Was it Trumpster?
Sure. No, she's he, whatever you want to call the Jenner, is full on right wing, which is 100% the opposite. The right wing, whatever you want to say about them, hates transgenders. They're openly against anything trans. So how can you be a trans supporting fucking Trump or DeSantis? Vote for whoever you want, but you're voting against your own self-interest there. So to me, that was the beginning of the end for me.
Yeah. That was a weird one. Yeah, they had a couple of people that really had done things that you thought, my God,
things
that's heroic stuff. They were definitely cashing in on the opportunity there because look, that had to be the biggest long shot. I don't mean this in any disparaging way because I'm all for it. Whatever you want to do with your life, do it, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, right? And if the alternative is to live a miserable life and maybe even consider hurting yourself, then certainly I'm all in favor of whatever. I'd be the last person to put restrictions on somebody for the way they wanted to conduct their business, as long as they were doing it with consideration of others, right? Like that schmuck old man who was ringing his bell when I was doing my walk of life yesterday, and is riding his fucking bicycle on the sidewalk. And if I had moved over 1 inch, because I'm spacing out a little bit while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about things, whatever. I'm not really paying attention. Sometimes I'm amazed that somebody's passing me by because I'm so absorbed in what I'm doing there. Thinking, Only 3 more miles. I'll be drinking that ice cold Coors Light. 2 more miles to the beer.
Yeah.
But there's a bike path there, man. It's just as
Yes.
wide as a sidewalk. And the guy's passing me by with his little Tinkerbell there, and I felt like shoving him into the street.
Okay, if you threw an elbow.
Me, Mr. Peace, Mr. Love.
Oh, great. If you threw an elbow.
No, I'm tempted. I don't know. Do I have a right? Are there walkers' rights? The sidewalk is named the sidewalk. It sounds like a Stephen Wright routine.
But my problem is with the
bike path. I would imply that that's for bikes, would it not?
100% is. My only problem is it's right in the middle of the fucking road. So half the time the bikes will ride in the middle of the road, and that's not better. So it's
I don't mind if some feeble old lady, is crawling along on a bicycle, but you don't see that, right?
No, it's these young people and they're serious, and
But this guy, says something to me like, "Oh yeah, I mean, you got to be careful out here."
I'm walking, you fuckhead.
Exactly. And he's behind me. I have no idea this guy's coming up on me.
Bikes are fucking.
What if I was listening to some device there, which most people are when they're doing this kind of stuff? I don't. I'm just hearing the same rhetoric in my head. You can do it, Defo. You can do it. This is keeping you alive. Keep going. It doesn't matter how hot it is outside.
I don't know why they're
Just keep it going.
so emboldened. People on bikes feel like the whole world
This is an old guy with a helmet on. I've seen him before. Same asshole. Bothers me. Why should I let that bother me? It's obviously still on my mind here today. I could still envision a guy, and I thought, whoa, why don't I just go, Radko Gudis or whatever that guy's name was, Radko Gudis? Where did he end up? He ended up going like to some team on the West Coast.
He got traded, and the Duclair got traded too. They shook up a lot of things. Their defense sucked. They needed to make some.
Was Gudis a free agent, or did he get traded?
Trade. Both Gudis and Duclair were traded.
I liked both of those guys, didn't you?
They're fine, but neither after the first round, neither did anything.
Gudis was hurt badly, though. Gudis was.
They probably were both hurt, but neither did any of the rest of the playoffs, and they need defense. We saw what happened. Like the defense with a goddamn sieve in the fucking Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, in that last game, 16-3, something like that.
Exactly. It was like
fucking Wayne Newton had 2 assists.
It was like a college football game.
Will the Marlins hold up in the second half, Lubie? There is your topical sports question of the day. And what do you make of this feeble attendance? I mean, if you really look at that number, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Oh, it's bad. But what are they the last month? Like, and I get it.
Better, but I mean that only brought them up to. So what were they averaging in April when nobody had any faith in this team? And we were trying to tell everybody that the changes they made in the offseason were strictly cosmetic.
Yeah, I think like 11,000.
You may as well send in 3 easy payments of $69.95 to Cindy Crawford and cover your face, cake up on some makeup so that you can look younger again. Just put it on with a spatula. All right, we're coming back with more. Major League Baseball off until Friday. And then let me see. Are they touting a full slate of games on Friday? I would think yes. Everybody back in action on Friday? 15 games in the major leagues? Does that make any sense, Libby?
Yeah. I would think it's a full slate.
Okay. And, wow. I mean, this is how bad it is. They have the opening weekend NFL lines posted in my usual grid here, where we'd have the baseball lines up, and then some odds on the tennis matches. Djokovic is going to be in action. Is that today against Yannick Sinner? What would you think? Here are the odds to win the Wimbledon Championship, the 4 guys that are left in the tournament, Libby. Are you ready? Djokovic, you have to lay 200 to win 100. So he's a 1-2 favorite. Would you do that? You think Djokovic just towers over the rest of the field? Now, Djokovic is going to play Sinner, and then Alcaraz plays Medvedev. Any of the 4, you would think, and Sinner would be the biggest long shot, which he is at 11-1. Medvedev is 9-1. That's not a bad price on this kid. What do you think? Daniil Medvedev, former number 1 in the world?
Sure.
He's playing well right now. He seems to have found his game. He's a very loosey-goosey type, a very intense competitor. He's been tested, though, more than the other guys that are left in the Final 4 here. And then on the women's side, what do we have? Oh, they don't have it. Nothing on the women's side. Jim Sarney, if I was in Jim's shoes, I'd be writing a letter of complaint right now to the New York Post and saying, you degenerates, You didn't even include the women in terms of the odds making. All right, we'll come back with more and many things to discuss here on the program. Take up until 9 o'clock. Later on today, this is one of my favorite spots. I need you to put in an order for me, though, Lubie, because I never kind of get what I really want out of that place. And I want to try like one of their burgers. Gilbert's on 17th Street Causeway. A friend of mine nearly came by yesterday. He actually called me. I haven't heard from this guy. You remember the captain, Jim Grimmel, with his racing nuts? He was always, always doing something in the media. He was very close to that kid that got drafted by the Angels out of FAU. What is his name? Is it Noble Schnauer or something like that? Kid's very unusual. He has a very unusual batting style, and yet it was extremely effective. And that's one of the nice things, right? You see a little bit of this. I think our other friend of mine named Nick Doyle, who now lives in St. Pete, he was very close to Dylan Cruz, who was the number 2 overall pick. And these are people that were involved with their own sons in baseball, from the time they were like 8 years old. And I guess they grew up with these guys. And so it's kind of nice to see. They had this big draft party for, I wish, I know I'm butchering his name, Schnauer. Is that it, Lubie? Are you familiar at all? FAU baseball?
I don't know anything you're saying. You're more on to things like me. You're sounding like Sarny.
I don't know. I mean, look, the Major League Baseball draft, how dead wrong are most people about what goes on there, right? You see guys like Mike Piazza that make the Hall of Fame that were drafted in the 135th round, and then you'll see number 1 picks who, never surface again. But we had no success here, as I can recall, with the Marlins. Have they not been overall very poor in the draft category?
They've been horrendous. They've been an atrocity. What are you talking about? They fucking suck at drafting, point blank. I mean, they have young pitchers that are good, but a lot of it they got through trades.
Right. Mark Kotsay.
And they were throwing.
Did they draft him, Mark Kotsay?
Kotsay.
That was one of the early ones. I remember like the second or third year they were in existence, they drafted some high school kid out of San Diego named Jaime Jones.
Oh, Jesus.
Who I don't think ever sniffed AA.
Logan
I don't know where he ended up.
I mean,
and people were, analysts, guys were going on the air. Oh, yeah, that's a real good pick, man. This guy's a left-handed power bat. That's exactly what the team needs. Give him 3 years to develop, and he'll be up there. He'll be batting cleanup for you for the next 15 years. Meanwhile, the guy couldn't hit a beach ball. So, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't mean to make light of that. And I've always used a classic example of draft mistakes where the Milwaukee Brewers wanted to give $500,000 to sign at the time. That was a huge bonus. $500,000 to sign Kenny Henderson out of some hick town. Where was he from? Tennessee. And unfortunately for me, in terms of time consumed, he ended up being a starter for the University of Miami Hurricane baseball team. He decided to go to college there. And you have to go 3 years, don't you, Lubie, if you sign up for baseball? Why is that? I mean, why wouldn't they just say, who's able to enforce that rule?
No idea.
Major League Baseball? They won't allow you to come back into the bigs if you go. How could the NCAA have that level of power over a player that they could force them if they go to college for 1 year to make them stay for 3?
I don't know. I mean, high school, I think, is going back to. They've gone back to you only have to be 19. So basketball, like I don't know, the way each league.
I don't understand how you can enforce that. It seems, like it would be impossible to apply that rule now, especially, right? Where essentially, although it may be more worth it, I mean, for some of these guys, baseball's not getting paid money, though.
Oh, you're getting
name, image, and likeness, are they?
No, you're not getting NIL from baseball.
Yeah.
You barely get it in basketball. Basketball is actually a pretty primetime sport, and you barely get it in basketball.
I don't know about that. I mean, when you looked at some of these Hurricanes and what their deals were, who's the kid? Pack, right? They were shooting from. He was getting $800,000 to be a Hurricane.
Supposedly, a lot of
Cavender twins got $1 million to play for the women's team, and they weren't even that big of a deal on the women's team. Gorgeous, I mean, two young girls, but wow.
A lot of the numbers are bullshit. So I don't believe what fucking Ruiz was throwing out there. The players haven't signed off on most of these numbers. Football is the one where I believe the numbers for the most part. Basketball, yeah, the Canes supposedly gave Miller and Pack and what's the other one?
Isaiah Wong
so much money. I don't know. I never heard of any of them before they got to Miami. They weren't these big time. None of them were huge transfers. Like, I don't see, well, some random guy, let's give him 700,000. Like, it doesn't work. Ruiz overblew a lot of the bullshit, and I think it's a load of garbage. A lot of the stuff that On3 throws out there. This guy's worth 300 grand. No, that's not true.
You can't imagine that every guy, is making that kind of money.
They're not. It's a load of garbage.
Right. And as you said, it wasn't like, I don't know how coveted Nigel Pack was, but he's a good player and he's a lot of fun to watch, especially when he's on. He's very entertaining. But, was he that prominent? Isaiah Wong was highly touted in New Jersey, but was he of national acclaim at the highest levels where he would command like $500,000 a year? Or I guess these deals are, doled out in
the year.
In 2-year parcels and stuff.
Well, it's by the year.
By the year, okay.
By the year, and they're not automatically renewed. So,
have you ever seen anybody endorse anything?
Well, Bryce Young was in the Dr. Pepper ads. Like, you'll see some people. Most of it's local. It's usually not national ads.
Right.
Like local. Like,
so where do these guys do endorsements? They go on on a local radio show and go, hey, let's go to Nigel Pack now for whatever this is.
A lot of it's online shit nowadays. It's all social media. They'll do posts. They'll do a lot of autograph signings. You'll see the autograph signings in before where they had to wait till after school. Now they'll do it while they're players. And then social media posts. They'll do something on Instagram or on
Johnny Manziel. He was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
100%.
Yeah. He was probably getting some.
He would kill it. Oh, for sure. But he would be legal.
Imagine Manziel with his level of popularity that he had in his final collegiate year. How much money would this kid have made? He would have made. Well, he got paid as a number 1 draft pick in the NFL, also first round pick, not number 1, but first round.
Yes.
Which who drafted him? The Cowboys?
No, the Browns.
Oh, the Browns. Yeah.
The long line of shitty quarterbacks that they overdrafted.
Imagine it. Some scout looked at Johnny Manziel and said, "Yeah, this kid's going to be great." You got to be kidding me.
Nah, he was.
As a college quarterback, he was very exciting, but unfortunately, that was.
But most of it was
Peter Principle.
Mike Evans. Like, people have learned, oh shit, he just threw it up to the really tall guy.
All right, we're going to come back with more. We'll take up until 9:00 today. The Mike Mayo Lunchbox from Gilbert's. And that's on the 17th Street Causeway.
I did it last time. All these places treat us well, and we can ask whatever we want. Gilbert's is on another level because they almost are apologetic about how happy they are we're there, which I actually feel weird when people are like, whatever you want. I'm like, no, we're okay. They're like, you sure? You sure? I'm like,
I need you to put in a burger order for me, though.
You can put in an order.
I usually, you guys are already schmoozing and everything.
Is great. If you just tell the daughter and I need to learn the name because I feel disrespectful saying the daughter. Especially since we're going to be going there monthly. I'm so busy that I don't get everyone's name.
It's a lot to try and remember.
You can order whatever you want. They are amazing. Like, all these places treat us great. Gilbert's is like the mother is actually amazing on air.
Oh, they're all fantastic. Really nice people. No, they couldn't be better. And those shakes that they make, they have a lot of variety too. It's not just burgers, but if I'm going to head down there, I'm looking for a burger the way that I like it, which is ketchup, pickles, and grilled onions.
There you go. Get a standard.
And I run it as rare as they'll make it.
We always do these fancy ass burgers. I like once in a while going simple and just showing
ketchup, pickles, grilled onions, Lubie. Think about that for a second.
When you get there, or I'll make sure Mayo, when he does his order of 17, that'll be one of the 12 things that he puts in a standard Defo burger.
Yes, he literally is intending to sample everything on the menu, both sides. Yeah, just flip that sucker over, and we'll have one of each of those. That was great. 100%. Yesterday was fantastic. Burton Max's Delray Beach. Burton Max's in Delray Beach. Good time I had up there, and everything was delicious. It really was fantastic. The Brussels sprouts were great. I ate all of those. Did you like those?
Those were really fucking good. Like, they're usually sweet, but it wasn't just sweet. Like, I like the little heat. And
had a little heat coming from the peppers. That's why that chef, I thought he was great. He was very innovative. To make a suggestion that the crab cakes weren't exactly up to your standard. I thought that was very, very. Holy Rex Reed, do you have to complain about something, Michael? His daughter was there too. She was having a good time. She just shook her head.
She rolled her eyes the whole time.
She is the glue in that family. There's no doubt about it, man.
He kept offering her food. And what teenager says no to food? She's so disgusted by him that he kept offering her food and she kept going, no. like making a gagging
Because
face.
you'd already slimed the burger, man. Even if you were his own flesh and blood, you're not eating it after that.
So disgusting. She was looking for a car. Usually the day you're looking for a car, you're like greasing daddy and showing him all the love and affection. She's
Yeah.
so grossed out by him that she couldn't hide it.
She asked him to sit at a different table. I had great respect for that woman.
I love his daughter.
She's going to go far, yeah.
It's classic.
She's watching a show, and she couldn't believe this.
She
She's
was
figuring you wouldn't even put this up on TikTok. What you did with that
I
farmer's burger?
It's up there.
I think it was great. Man.
Right now.
I would have been tempted to try it, but
I wanted it so bad, and you fucking Mayo railroad.
Well, I mean, it was good. I mean, in terms of entertainment value, I thought it was good that he attempted to do that, and then that egg was squirting out all over the place. You need windshield wipers when you eat next to Mike Mayo. This was, I mean, that's the great thing about it. It's so phenomenal that he was the food critic for the Sun Sentinel for all those years, and he was writing in, it's a different style of writing. It's a different language, right? The wind was a bit pretentious as we walked in for our 7 p.m. reservation, and we were immediately greeted by the maitre d', who, and then they make some comparison to, some sophisticated cat. And it's a different style of writing, so it's not that easy. I mean, you have to give Mayo a lot of credit for doing that, but I think all critics feel that they have to have some kind of negative, thing that they can allude to. No, it can't just all be. I mean, could Tony Segreto be a food critic? What do you think, Lubie? You're frozen up on me anyway. So we'll try and get to this break and be back with more in a moment. Now that. Oh, we are stuck. Unbelievable. All right. So I'll keep babbling here, assuming that, I'm still going. I see a frozen Lubie on the screen. Anybody else with me on this? Or am I the one that is shut out? That is one of the weird conditions now of this whole new streaming genre where you don't know where you're at. Jim Sarney posting some odds here. So if you're still seeing me, Svitolina, the young woman who is in the semifinals, just underway here against the upstart and upset-minded Marketa Vandrusova, who is a left-hander, makes it especially difficult. We're good? Okay, good. All right, I'm still going. We're talking to Andy. We're talking to all of the people there. Alina Svitolina, married to Gail Monfils, who was always one of my favorite players and very entertaining. Never quite went as far as you would have liked to have seen him. I don't know. Did he make any Grand Slam finals? What would you say, Lubie? I'm going to say no to that. Gael Monfils. Did he ever make a Grand Slam final?
I thought he made a French. Maybe it was a semis.
Could be. I'm thinking semis, whereas the furthest he ever went in a Grand Slam event. And I don't know how many tournament wins he had overall. I don't know that it was an overwhelmingly significant number. Tournament wins by Gael Monfils. See if you can look up his resume real quick here.
The farthest he got was a U.S. Open semifinal in 2016.
Very good.
And recently, he made the Aussie quarterfinals. I really thought he did something in a French. That's interesting. Wow, yeah.
You would think he would be a great red clay player, no doubt.
He made a French semifinals in 2008. That's how.
Okay. 2008. Wow, that's what, 15 years ago?
And he's still playing.
I'm amazed he hasn't announced his retirement. I mean, he was in that bloodbath match. Was that far back? The Australian Open. He was just in a match that was absolutely incredible. I don't think that was the Australian Open. That was just like a couple of weeks ago. Okay. And he was in a match where he was cramping up and he could barely stand up, and he gutted it out and ended up getting a win over a good player. So, but it seemed like if you were ever going to announce your retirement, it would have been right after that match. Just said, you know what? Ponies in style at champion. Oh, there you go.
Sorry,
we were looking for that before, but you froze up.
My internet's being fucking weird. But I'm here now. We can go to a break if you want.
All right. Because last night for me, it was Hello, Darkness, my old friend. I could see where Aaron Rodgers might have dug that, right? Have you ever just sat in a pitch black household? Now, I would have been able to illuminate it a little bit with like flashlights and candles and one of those little clicker lights that you have that they give off a pretty good amount of heat too. So I was able to illuminate the place a little bit, but for a while I was just like trying to figure out what this Aaron Rodgers thing was all about. I think, if you were tripping on mushrooms and sitting in like a pitch black room like that, would that not, lead to maybe a little bit of a strange streak of behavior to follow? What do you think?
I feel like I would lead to a bad trip.
Oh, you froze up again. All right, let's try and get to this break here, Lubie, and then we'll come back with more. Although I think we're stuck again, which is fantastic. All right, kind of wild. And this, as I was saying, it's the nature of the beast. We used to lead the league in technical problems. All right, can we get to this break, Lubie?
Yes,
Are you there?
Okay.
Okay. See what you can do, man. Reboot something. All right, back in a moment. Now that. Oh, we missed it again.
Oh.
Go ahead, fire up those commercials, Lubie. See what you can do. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Chris Economaki, who is standing by with the Detroit champion.
Congratulations, Ayrton. If you had not had the flat tire, would you have made 2 stops? You think, Ayrton? That flat tire, would you have made 2 stops or just 1 without that?
Only 1 stop. That flat tire up everything. But fortunately, everything turned out good in the end.
Where did the tire go flat on the course?
No, I don't know. I just picked it up something on the track. I never touched any wall or anywhere. Something came in the tire.
You drove a great job. Congratulations.
The morning just isn't right without Defo, right here on 940 Win.
The sort of frenetic nature of Chris Economaki, while still remaining relatively cool, I think that set him apart. He was to auto racing what Dick Button was to figure skating, I think, as a color analyst. No? One of the greats of all time. A follow-up question on a flat tire. And
I just love that
he gets the guy to curse in the pits. That flat tire fucked up everything, man. How great is that? Who's he talking to? Like Emerson Fittipaldi? I don't know. Some fabled guy.
Yeah.
All right, that was great. All right, this comes under the heading. I made a few notes going into the show here, but naturally we covered none of this ground during the course of the program. And it was great having Kirkles on. I thought that was a very spirited edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge earlier today. Is nothing sacred, Lubie? This comes under the heading of Is Nothing Sacred? The Yankees, or as my good friend, the horse trainer Angel Medina, who was known to bring over a couple of long shots every now and then under somewhat suspect circumstances. I loved Angel. Gave me a $100 horse that time. That was the classic story about how I walked off the live set on a television show and said, I'm going to show you guys how to make a bet. Yeah, give me that wireless. Yeah, okay. I took all the shit off and walked over to the window and said, give me 20 to win on, the 5 or whatever it was.
Very natural at that, Defo.
Yes.
They're like, wow, you're good job.
Imagine what a hero I looked like when we came back to the set and I had a winning ticket that was like worth $1,200 on my $20 bet because Medina's horse paid $120 or something. That was great. And you can have all the handicappers in the world. Eddie Olczyk, actually, he hit some phenomenal horse, like a $80 horse in one of these handicapping contests recently, Lubie. Are you frozen again? I think so. Anyway, Lubie keeps checking in and out with us. But this comes under the heading, people, of is nothing sacred. And that is the Yankees have sold on their fabled. I mean, you talk about, one of the classic uniforms in all of sports, the pinstripes. They still, I want to say, and I haven't, I should know this, right? The Yankees are still a team. Do they not put the names of players on the back of the uniform? Somebody picture, like a Yankee uniform right now. Well, wait a minute. That was Jeter's name on the back there, or just the classic number 2? Jeter, Derek Jeter. I can't imagine they, look, this is the age that we are operating in, right? This is the business that we have chosen. You're thinking, what was the greatest example of this? Would be any NASCAR driver where they have, and who would be least likely to criticize this sort of thing than I would, or Lubie for that matter, if he ever shows back on the show again. Look, we like to endorse things. It's all part of the game here. So the Yankees now will be carrying a logo on their uniform, and they've sold the rights to have advertising on the fabled Yankee pinstripes for $25 million. I'm trying to quickly peruse the newspaper here as to who that is that bought this advertising on the Yankee uniform. But that's happening now. Now this is not uncommon. I would imagine other teams have already reaped the benefits of selling advertising right on the sleeve. But the New York Yankees, not preserving the sanctimony of the Yankee uniform being a classic, now have sold advertising as if they were advertising Chico's bail bonds on the fabled pinstripes. So I don't know if anybody has any feelings about that. I guess you can't let it bother you anymore because that's just the nature of the beast these days. John Gruden, it turns out, and this was after intense investigative reporting and also, I guess, an actual congressional investigation, that it was Dan Snyder all along. Snyder was the rat in the whole John Gruden thing. He tried to pass it off on Paul Allen, and ESPN had a big piece, and it was kind of capsulized in other media platforms and sources about how this so badly backfired on Dan Snyder that as he was about to get off the hook and serve out his suspension for the horrendous behavior of his organization and the negative culture they had created, especially towards women, that he was going to serve out his suspension, and he had stated his intention was to never sell the now Washington Commanders. And yet he saw it's necessary to go ahead and spill the beans about these emails, these racist emails from John Gruden. And sure enough, he blamed it on Paul Allen, and it turned out that, it was Danny Boy all along. Are you all right there, Lubie? What's going on with your...
I'm on the hotspot, my internet. I have to reset the goddamn fucking modem. So we should be able to finish the show. I apologize for that, and I appreciate you.
I've been babbling here. I mean, just sitting there going...
I was going to text you, but I'm like, Devo doesn't even look at his phone, so that would serve no purpose.
I want to check it out, trying to bail out of a spot there. No, I was talking about the Yankees sold advertising on their uniform. Okay. The Yankees... do they have the name of the players on the back of the uniform now?
I don't think so.
I want to say no to that. I mean, there has to be a Yankee fan in our audience that would know the answer to that question. I feel kind of stupid that
Julian
I don't.
and Andy are both Yankee fans. I don't know if they watch to that degree. I don't think they do the name. I still think they have no name, like Notre Dame or whatever.
So do you find it odd that, I'm assuming that is a capitulation to classic baseball traditions, that they don't put the names of the players, under maybe the auspices that no individual player should supersede the team and that the logo of the Yankees is sacred and all of this stuff. So how do you feel about them selling advertising on their sleeve now?
I mean, it is a little funny that you're telling the players, no one's greater than the team. You can't have a mustache. Your hair can't be farther than your head. But
Good
we're going to
point.
have Target on our jersey.
Right, where you don't have the name of the player on the jersey, but now you have somebody's business logo on the jersey.
It's like, come on, man. So they can't promote
25 million, though. I mean, is it not justified? It took 25 million a season to offset the money they're losing on Giancarlo Stanton, or any number of other players for that matter, but especially Stanton, who graded out as an F here in this first half report card that's in the New York Post.
Well, he doesn't
A big
play.
fat giant F.
Hasn't even
The
hurt all
streaky
year.
slugger can still hit some moonshots, but he hasn't consistently stepped up when the Yankees have needed him most, with Judge out of the lineup. The entire Yankee organization is contingent on what Aaron Judge does or doesn't do.
Yeah, it's not good.
All of that money, and they're all dependent on one guy. That's incredible.
Well, the Donaldson contract has turned into the fucking Ellsbury contract. Like, that guy, I know he was old, but Jesus. 170 something? Like, how the fuck are you batting 170 something? Oh, my God.
Star Insurance is the name of the company. STARR, 2 R's. Will become the storied franchise's signature partner, and the company's logo will be featured on the club's uniforms in a deal that will annually net the Yankees in the mid-20 millions, according to a person with knowledge of the deal. The deal will run through 2031 and is believed to be the most lucrative in MLB history. That's tough to turn down, right? I mean, would they put a map of Saudi Arabia on there if the People's Fund or whatever decided that they want to invest in New York Yankee baseball? How long is it before the Saudis own the Yankees? That would be the question of the day. No?
I don't know.
If they could buy this golf thing, and the hearings there were hysterical, were they not? You couldn't help but cringe, could you? At the bullshit excuses that were made by the PGA for having to sell out. Did it seem like, had you ever heard that the PGA was in any kind of financial difficulty?
No.
With their freebie, tax status and the fact that they were supposedly a non-profit organization, huh?
They're not in any trouble. That's a load of garbage. They saw the dollar signs and they're greedy, and it's a fucking joke. And they hung out two of their bigger names to dry. Tiger and Rory were so loud and clear about how they were against this, and the PGA backed them the whole time. And then suddenly, billions. Well,
well, it's appropriate, man, that you have an insurance company. Do they do like personal injury? Because half their guys are on the injured list. And the Mets, also appropriately, are brought to you by and feature a logo on their uniform from New York Presbyterian Hospital. Because most of their players have a residence there. They have a timeshare there. All right, a lot of fun being with you today. Thanks so much. I appreciate the people who played and participated in the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. New guys, don't be afraid to jump in there next week. Tomorrow we'll have a Degenerate Friday. And we can get back into being full-blown degenerates, as you'll have a full slate of Major League Baseball, Saratoga being its second day. We'll be out at Gulfstream Park tomorrow for the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. That's always a hoot.
Sure.
And then you can catch us later on. Ketchup, pickles, and grilled onions. Can you remember that, Lubie?
You can just order it. I don't have to be. I'm not the.
Usually that order's already been placed by the time I get there, and I feel like an asshole saying, hey, you know what, I'd like something too.
I asked halfway through the show last time. It wasn't even for me. It was for my fucking wife, and they were sweet and took right care of it. So when you first get there, ask, then I'm sure they'll do whatever the hell you want.
All right, I'll give that a shot, Libby. I was just hoping you'd put it in when Mayo goes through his thing. We'll have two at ease. Do you make pizza here? Yeah, okay, we'll have a pie.
You make pizza.
That's later on. 17th Street, it's actually on the 17th Street Causeway, right? On the south side.
Right before you get on that bridge, you go, and there's that big shopping center in the back, but
it's good. It's a good spot. Yeah, Gilbert's. And it's right there to the right. So you don't have to go too far. You don't have to schlep all over the place. Plentiful parking available there. Come on out. And wow, the food is dynamite there. It really is.
Great.
They do a terrific job. That's another one of those spots that we go to where you're thinking, my God, these people are just so into what they're doing that it has to be great. And it turns out that it really is. A spectacular variety also for, you think of the burgers there, but they really do have a lot of stuff. You think that... You think Mayo's really going to order the salmon? Was he talking about that?
Some kind of fish, yeah. I wouldn't put it past him. He loves doing the whole spectrum of things.
Yeah. All right. All right, well, we'll have some fun out there later on, 12 o'clock on South Florida Live. And then we'll join you again tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the a.m. For Mike Lubie, thanks, everybody, for putting up with us today. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 and today later on at 12 o'clock. As we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 9:01.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.